All right, so this takes the linear perspective the next step into 2-point perspective, and I've already drawn a few things out using a straight edge just because it was a lot easier than to try to draw a bunch of straight lines at this funky angle that I'm at right now. So remember when we drew boxes in 1-point perspective? So we have the horizon line, which is the straight line. We have the vanishing point. Only in 2-point perspective, instead of 1, there's 2 points. So normally they go far apart from each other, right? And so down at the bottom, I just drew a box where all the parallel lines connect up to one or the other vanishing point. So when we did a 1-point box, we started off with a square, right? So I asked you to draw a square, and then whichever 3 corners are close to the vanishing point, we connected those up, right? And then we drew a back edge and a side edge to close off the box, right? But what if the box is at an angle? Like, what if you're looking at not straight at the face of the box, but what if you're looking at the corner? If it's turned to, so the corner is facing you, then you would require these 2 points to draw the box in 2-point perspective. So to draw this box down below here, I started just with this one line, and then I connected from the left vanishing point to the top and bottom of the line. And then I connected from the right vanishing point to the top and bottom of the line. And then before I drew this part, I drew my 2 perpendicular lines to create the left and right sides of the box, right? And then I had to draw the top surface because, again, it's below our eye level, our horizon line. So we can see the top, but we can't see the bottom. So this back edge is parallel to this edge and this edge, so it has to point to that same vanishing point. And this back edge has to point to this right vanishing point because it's also parallel to this edge and this edge. See how that works? So now you have a box. It looks 3-dimensional. It would look more 3-dimensional if I had shaded it. But because of the angles that it's drawn, it looks like it's existing in 3-dimensional space. So most commonly, or more commonly, rather than boxes, people will use 2-point perspective to draw buildings, and so that's what I did up here at the top. So I decided to just make a big box sitting right on the horizon line, just like we did before. But then I connected the left side to the left vanishing point and the right side to the right vanishing point, and then I just closed it off to the shape I wanted it to be, right? And that's my box or my building according to 2-point perspective, right? And I can see the front corner of it. So the next thing to remember is that any line on this building or this box that's parallel to the top or the bottom, like tops and bottoms of windows, tops and bottoms of bricks, tops and bottoms of doorways, any line at all that's parallel, that's on the surface, that's parallel to the top edge or the bottom edge, according to 2-point perspective, has to point to that point, has to go to that point. So the way I drew these bricks is just by keeping my straight edge on this point and then lining it up each time a little bit. I draw a line a little bit of the ways down each time, making sure that it lines up to that point. So then when I get to the bottom, it'll be exactly the same as this ground line, this horizon line. Right, and the same thing with the windows. So for the windows, I put my straight edge against this left vanishing point, and then I drew, actually I drew a dashed line to get the tops and the bottoms of my windows going all the way down. Once I had my dashed lines, then I just drew my vertical lines to close off the windows, right? And the same thing for these doors. So when you're doing your 18 by 24 inch drawing for the Surrealist Landscape, who knows, I don't know, you may be drawing buildings, you may be drawing boxes, you may be drawing other objects that you could draw according to 1 or 2 point perspective. So I thought this would be helpful for you, and especially for those of you who already learned 1 point perspective and then wanted a refresher on 2 point perspective. So you can use either one for your homework. You're not required to use 2 point perspective. If you want to stick to 1 point, you can. The assignment is a creative assignment asking you to do some creative problem solving. So you're going to make a surrealist landscape. That means it doesn't have to look normal. It shouldn't look normal. It's a sort of like a dream landscape, right? So you can create your own type of landscape. It can be a cityscape, it can be rural, it can be some combination, it can be really anything that you can think up, right? I recommend you do some small sketching to plan out some ideas. But there has to be some element, some elements in your landscape that create depth of space. And you have to use both techniques. You have to use atmospheric perspective and linear perspective in some way in your surreal landscape. All right, and that is it. I'll see you in the next video.